Hey, this is Bruce Cook, and I thought it'd be fun to make a video showing all the hot sauces that I was able to make. Well, most of the sauces I was able to make with the peppers I grew this year, the ones that I saved for myself. So it's a show off what all my hard work gave me this year. So I'm just going to talk about the sauces I got, which right here, this is the entirety of all the sauces that I made that I kept for myself. I don't know if that's going to last me the whole winter. I dog these things when I'm at liberty to use as much as I want. I go buck wild on these things. All these sauces were full. This is just the less than the past week. I've been dogging these things, but oh, there's something else I grab. I forgot I made pepper powder as well. So, anyways, I'm gonna just show off my sauces, and then I'm gonna show you the ingredients that I used to make these sauces and how I did it. So I guess firstly, I'll go over exactly how I did all this to begin with. I did repurpose a bunch of I don't know how else to say it, alcoholic bottles or whatever. So these I've collected this whole past year. These are all different size bottles of that Mad Dog 2020 stuff. So I've had these sitting in a box, and with the caps on and everything. And then there was a few of these small ones. I mostly use the small ones to give away to my my coworkers, my boss and friends and stuff. But anyways, so what I did was I had these stored away, and then when it came time recently, this past couple weeks, when it came time to start making them, I had first washed these bottles out, rinsed them, and then each day I was turning 2 to 3 different varieties of peppers into sauces. So what I would do is I would rinse these out thoroughly, and then I would put them in a big kettle full of water, and I would boil them while I would be making my sauce. That would sterilize the things, and then I had the caps in the water as well. So what I had done is I filled the kettle up with water, and I actually filled these up with water from the sink, and then I would set them in the boiling water in the kettle, so I wouldn't have the water level in the big pot higher than the tops of these, because I didn't want that water getting into these, because obviously these things still have labels on there. I don't know if adhesive or anything would get mixed into the boiling water, so I made sure the water that was heating up these bottles would not get into the bottles themselves. So I would have those on almost a boil, and then I'd be making my sauces. So what I did was I wanted all of my sauces to be 40% POP. That means percentage of pepper. Meaning, out of this entire bottle, 40% of it, which, this is an arbitrary line I'm creating here, but imagine that about that much of the bottle from here down would be pure, nothing but pepper material, and then the rest would be fillers and preservatives and other ingredients and spices. So what I would do was I'd have to do some math. I'll actually show you my notebook I have here. And it still has some paper in it from when I was, doing the math, how much ingredients that I needed. So what I would do, I'd start off, I do have a food scale, I'll show you that as well. But what I would do is, since I want 40% of the peppers, so say for instance, this Nagamorich, this was the only sauce that I made today, and I actually had to use this since I didn't have enough Nagamorich peppers to create a large bottle like that. This is what I had. So I used my red wine vinegar bottle. So what I would do is I would take the peppers, put them on a food scale, find out what the weight was. So in the Nagamorich's case, this was probably the least peppers I had of any variety. But anyways, there was 272 grams of peppers. So what I did was to figure out what that would be, 40, because I would be doing 40% pepper. So what I would do is I would times this by 100, and then I would divide by 40, and I would get my answer. It would give me the total weight of what everything is supposed to weigh in the end with all the ingredients, to guarantee that the peppers make up 40%. So that would be 272 is 40% of 680. So with the salt, I would go 3%. All of these ingredients I'd go 3%, but I did go 1% higher with the salt. I would use Mediterranean sea salt. So actually, I got my box right here. Let me make sure the box is in the frame. Yeah, it is. So this is what I would use. So I use Mediterranean sea salt, and it's the Walmart brand, Great Value brand. Put 3% of that in there, and well, it would be. I'd put 1 more gram. That's what I would do. It'd still be 3%, but I would add 1 more gram than what the rest of these are. See, because 20 would be 3% of 680. So I do 3% garlic, and for that I was using just minced garlic, Great Value brand, and that resulted in 20 grams. I would use peppercorn. I made the sauce kind of simple, but these are ingredients that worked out for me very well in the past, so I stuck with this. So I use these peppercorns, and then that would make up I would calculate these being 3%, and then I would just come up with an arbitrary number that's less than half of those with the peppercorn. Then I would use oil. So what I used for oil was Great Value brand extra virgin olive oil. That would serve sort of as a thickener. That's what I was using before I started using xanthan gum for the first time, or xanthan gum. And then the oil, 20 grams. And then I had calculated best results to get my pepper sauces to be a pH, because I do test the pH. I would want the pH. It said it's ideal to have your hot sauce to be between 2.9 to, I don't know what it was, like 3.4. And all of my sauces have been averaging, it was 2.9 to 3.1, which is excellent. And I would use one of these. So this is a pH tester. And I actually learned to do this from Chili Chump. I got a lot of my advice on growing peppers in the beginning and how to make sauces from the YouTube channel Chili Chump. And he recommended one of these pH testers. I think I got this for less than $15 on, I can't remember if it was Amazon or eBay. This thing's been working for me for the past 4 seasons. So I would use, what is it? Vinegar. I just use, so with my yellow sauces, I would use just straight, white vinegar. And then with my red sauces, I would use a little bit of red wine vinegar, which is where that bottle came from, and then the white vinegar. And with my chocolate sauces, I would use, I forgot that bottle. It's still in my refrigerator. It's balsamic vinegar. I would use a little bit of that mixed with the white vinegar. And I found out, using 30% of the vinegar, or making vinegar 30% of the sauce, helped the pH to level between 2.9 to 3.1 for me after everything was all said and done. And then water, I found out 19% of the sauce being water also helped, acts as a filler. And then, of course, this year, for the first time ever, I learned to use xanthan gum. I didn't know where to get it these past few seasons online, and I could never afford, to get online and hardly buy anything. So I discovered my local Walmart had this, and it actually worked great. I watched videos on how to use this stuff, and it worked excellent for me. So that was my proportions of ingredients that went into these sauces. And then what I would do is I would throw the peppers into the blender. I would throw the water and vinegar into the blender as well. I would blend them up. Well, I'd put my peppercorn in there too, just so the peppercorn could get kind of shredded before I would cook the sauce, because I did cook them. Also, all my peppers sat in the freezer in freezer safe Ziploc bags, as I was collecting them during the season. But then I'd throw them all into the blender and, blend them up. And then I would throw them into a pot where I would cook them. And once I threw them in the pot, I would add all the extra ingredients in there, give it a little stir. And then I would have my stove. I have a gas stove. I'd have it on the lowest flame, and I would let it sit there for between 20 and 25 minutes. I would come in halfway, give it a stir, and then put the lid back on. And after between 20 and 25 minutes would pass, I would pour the sauce out of the pot back into the blender. Also, I was making sure to make sure no tap water would be in the blender and stuff. I would dry it out and everything between each each step of the process that involved the blender. So after I'd wash the blender, I would dry it thoroughly, put the sauce in, or put the peppers, water and vinegar in, and the peppercorn, blend it, put it in the pot. Then I'd cook my sauce, but then I would wash the blender back out, and because I wouldn't want any live bacteria or anything still being in the blender when I go to put the cooked sauce in there. That's one of the reasons why I'd be cooking the sauce. I make sure all the bad stuff gets cooked out of it. So I'd wash the blender, dry it thoroughly. Then when I was done cooking the sauce, I'd pour it back into the blender, blend it up thoroughly, and after blending it for about like 3 or 4 minutes, I would just go off and on with the blender. What I would do is I'd take a ladle, I would pull a little bit out of it, and I'd pour it into this little shallow cup, and just deep enough that I could dip this in there, and then I would do a pH. But every single time I did it with every last one of these sauces, I got between 2.9 to 3.1. So after I would do that, I would add a tiny bit of xanthan gum, just to make it a little thick. It'd be enough so it could still run out of the bottle, but very slowly, not like last dab thick. But it turned out really well with the amount that I used. So, and I'll show you my sauces. So, and then I'll show you my my pepper potters. So, like we have, let's see how many you got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11. So we got 11 large bottles of these. This just shows you how much these sauces. I actually designate this as a buffalo wing sauce. So what this is a say I gave a lot of purple ghost pepper sauce to my boss and coworkers and stuff, and this is what I kept for myself. So this one never got the xanthan gum in it. I made this before I went and got the xanthan gum, so there's a little bit of separation in there. Not a big deal. So, but this is actually made from a combination of Texas Pete's. I can't remember if I used buffalo wing sauce or not. I think it was just Texas Pete's hot sauce, and that made up for like 30% of this. Then the rest of it was my the hot sauce that I made from the peppers itself, the purple ghost peppers. And so I designated this kind of like a buffalo wing sauce, or it's a wing sauce. I didn't get the butter and everything in it that buffalo wing sauce says. But anyways, so let's see, what I say, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I got 11 of these huge bottles. And I got to tell you, 2020, 2021, 2022, those seasons were so pathetic that at the end of the seasons, when I made sauces out of the peppers I collected, I literally didn't even get a whole 3 bottles worth of sauce. That's how pathetic those seasons were. And I didn't have enough sauce made to like hook friends or coworkers up and stuff. I made a couple tiny little bottles, probably equivalent to this. That's how bad those seasons went. And now, I was able to make all this for myself. And on top of that, I had sent out like another 2,000 peppers to people that bought peppers from me. And then also, I was able to make pepper potters. Now, this is a combination. This is all the green peppers that I picked off my plants when I took my garden down. This was actually filled all the way to the top to the point where I almost couldn't even close the lid. And I've been using this for about a week, and that's how much I've dogged it. There was a little more than 2 pounds worth of peppers that went into making this before I put them in the dehydrator. And then I just created pepper flakes. I didn't want it to actually turn into powder, but I made pepper flakes out of it. So that was rough. There was over 400 peppers that went into, close to 400 peppers that went into making what I originally had in this before, I started using it up. And then on top of that, I also made, I don't know, it was like 6 or 7 bottles, this size bottle, worth of sauces that I gave out to friends and co-workers and my bosses. And then it was like 3 or 4 of these little ones. So that's how well I did this season. So I had 11 of these big ones. Then I got 1, 2, 3, 4 of these little bit smaller bottles. My red wine vinegar bottle. And then, what do you call it? But anyways, we'll show you my sauces. I'll stop gabbing. So, like, we got my, there's a yellow ghost pepper. Let's see, what do we got here? Another yellow scorpion. We got, here's some more yellow ghost pepper. Give you a close-up. I'll show you the thickness. I don't know if your camera's picking that up. But that was the perfect thickness, consistency I wanted out of this. Out of my sauces. Let's see, what do we got here? So that's the purple ghost pepper wing sauce. Here, I'll set that over here. I guess I don't block the light. And we got green sauce. So, also on top of making pepper powders, because I actually had, like I said, I had 400 peppers, the green peppers I picked off my plants. Half of them went into making those powders. The other half I turned into a sauce. And this was my first sauce that I experimented with using the xanthan gum. And I used way too much. So this is like last dab consistency. I got the exact right amount that I wanted when I made the very next bottle. Because once I realized this was thick like that, you know, it's a good thing it was this that I experimented with. And not one of my specific pepper varieties. I got my Lucifer lemon. You can see the consistency of that. Looks really good. And you can see the black, you know, the peppercorn in there. Trying to get so it's ain't gonna block the light out. We got chocolate moruga. So those chocolate moruga scorpion peppers that, I don't know if they're called chocolate moruga peppers or chocolate moruga scorpions or chocolate scorpions. But it's the chocolate peppers that I ate a bunch of them in those videos that I would eat peppers to help fall asleep. So that was this. Then we got a Red Ghost. I actually was able to make a couple bottles of Red Ghost. Really good consistency. I think I had, yeah. See, I already dogged half that little bottle. It's my other Red Ghost. Put the small ones over there. Then we got, what did I do, man? I guess I made 2 green sauces. Gosh. Oh, it wasn't only about 400 peppers that green peppers I picked off my plants. It was almost 800. I was thinking I had about 400. I can't remember the numbers that I put into the exact numbers I put into the powders and then what I did with the sauces. I know I had collected almost 800 peppers. I just can't remember which ones went to what. You know, as far as how many went into the powder and how many went into those 2 bottles. But, and then, here we go. Got chocolate moruga again. So, I had a ton of these chocolate moruga scorpion peppers, so I was able to make 2 gigantic bottles of that. And then we got, oh yeah, here we go. I made this a little itty bit thicker than the other sauces, because this thing, I'll tell you, when I cooked this on the stove, it wasn't getting into the air when I was cooking these sauces with the lid on, but as soon as I would take the lid off, it wouldn't induce coughing or sneezing or anything like that. But boy, did it melt my face off. That steam coming up in my face. Making this chocolate primatelli sauce was painful. I'm not going to lie to you. This hurt to make this sauce. So, I was lucky I was able to end up with this much, because I was pretty scared towards the end of the season that I wasn't going to have very many chocolate primatellis. And then I had a bunch ripen, saved the day. So, that's my chocolate primatelli sauce. I have used a little bit of this already. And then we got, here's my dragon's breath. So it's for my dragon's breath peppers. And then we got my red primatelli. So I was very lucky to end up with just enough red primatellis to do this as well. So the only way I was even able to do this was I had 2 bowls of green peppers that were chocolate primatellis and red primatellis, and I let them sit in my bedroom. At first I was trying to sell them on eBay, but nobody was buying them. I had a pretty high price on them, but almost all those peppers ended up ripening, and gosh, there was like 40 peppers or more in that bowl, so I was able to add those on top of the very few that I had in the freezer. So I was able to make a full bottle of this stuff, almost to the top. I didn't quite make it to the top, but a lot of these sauces, when I was done making them, bottling them, I had put, I didn't have shrink wrap, so I put Scotch tape around here, try to help keep nasty things from getting up under the cap, so it wouldn't so bacteria won't start growing in there. Then we got that was all the chocolate bootless sauce right there I was able to make. That was pretty pathetic because this was my favorite hot sauce I made last year to put on wings and stuff, and last couple years in fact. And sadly, that was all the sauce I was able to make. I've used a little bit of that already. And we have, well, it was another Dragon's Breath. That's what was left after making that big bottle. Wasn't quite able to fill this all the way up, but got the Scotch tape on there. You know, I think with the pH levels I have in these sauces, as long as I don't introduce more air into the bottles by opening them and stuff. Like I put the sauce in these bottles while the bottles were extremely hot from being pulled out of boiling water, and while the sauces were really hot from me just having cooked them. And sure enough, when I went to I can't remember which bottle. Well, it was all the bottles. I had them in the refrigerator. When I went to open it, it made that suction popping sound from there being negative pressure in the bottles. So that was a good sign that when I capped them while it's real hot, as it cooled down, the pressure decreased inside of the bottle. So less chance of anything growing inside of there. And then I got another bottle of Loose for Lemon. That's I was able to get that filled on top of that big bottle. And then the one that I made today was the Nagamorich. I knew I wasn't going to have enough to make one of these big bottles. So since I had used up the rest of the red wine vinegar, I decided to use this bottle. So, and what was I going to say? I do have one more bag of purple ghost peppers. Some of them are ripened all the way. Some of them are partially ripened. I threw in a bag in the freezer. That's what I have left. That was when I went back out to pick the remaining peppers off my plants when I was taking my garden down. And I got those collected to make sauces, more sauces for my coworkers and bosses and friends. There was one other thing I wanted to go over. Crap, if I can just remember. Doggone it, it was just in my mind a minute ago. So, yeah, it's something to do with the bottling. Oh, another thing I used, another little trick I learned from Chili Chump was no rinse, Star San no rinse sanitizer. And I sprayed the threads before I capped it, and then gave it a spray on the outside. And I waited till these bottles cooled down while they were in my bedroom before I labeled them and stuff. I had to dry them, make sure they were dry. And there was something else I used, and I can't think of it. Something else I wanted to talk about, and I can't remember. But anyways, yeah, I thought I'd share, what I've reaped this year from all my hard work. And like I said, the last every prior year, I didn't even get a whole 3 bottles worth of sauce total, And this year, I got all of these sauces made for myself. Another dozen bottles that I made and gave to my coworkers and bosses and friends and all that. And then another couple thousand peppers that I sent out to people that bought them from me. So I did pretty darn good this year. So now I ended up learning recently there's a chance I might not be living at this house anymore. So I don't know what my what if there's going to be a 2024 growing season. So and my roommate's going to be leaving. Him and I are on the lease, but this house is far too expensive for me to afford by myself. I mean, I'm barely able to even pay my half of the bills. And my roommate just, he wants to go in another direction. We're friends and everything. We get along. But, he just wants to move on. And I don't know what I'm going to be doing this next year. So I'm not even sure I'm going to be sowing seeds. I was going to do it in January, but I'm not sure that's going to happen now. So I got to figure something out. I don't have any friends I can move in with down here. I don't have family down here. All my family is either living up north in Pennsylvania and New York, or they're living down in South Florida, and I would not be able to move in with any of them. So I really don't know what I'm going to be doing. I need a roof over my head and you know, I would need somewhere to store all my stuff. I got quite a bit of stuff. But I don't know. I mean, gotta figure something out. But anyways, I want to share my sauces that I made with y'all. So, anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed that video, and I will see you in the next one.